Yes. So there was a video put out over the weekend, and it's got it's a meme where they've got Trump shooting a bunch of press people, shooting press that's against him. They call it fake news, PBS, and a whole bunch of other ones, and shooting Bernie Sanders, and I just thought about the fact that, you know what my first thought was? And I know my first thought should have been, well, this is inappropriate, this is wrong, this is dangerous. Yes, that should be my first reaction. But my first reaction was, this is fitting, because that's Trump's base. He's the base. He's the figurehead and president of white mass shooters, and people who sympathize with white mass shootings. That's what came to my mind. Like, you're like, wow, this is really, this is where this dude, you know what I mean? Like, this is actually fitting. And that's tragic. It's tragic that I feel that way. It's tragic that I say something like that, but it's really true. That's the first thought I had about it. You know, you got a president that has so alienated the rest of the world, and who has just so clearly shown the majority of America, who is not Christian, who is not white, who is not male, you don't matter. And I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want anyway. And he just has this political philosophy that is just so I don't know if you say flash in the pan, or just so as need, that changes on a regular basis. One day they do one thing, and the next, he's I'm gonna pull out of Syria, and then he puts 1,000 troops in danger because Turkey's going in there to take out the rebels. The U.S. government had backed all this. I mean, I love it. I said it before, that the Turkey thing, the Turkey thing, the Ukraine thing, where he's using them to get information against Biden, the moving to Jerusalem embassy, the tranny ban in the military, what's the other one they had? The Islam ban, from Islamic countries, all this stuff, it really just shows you that Trump, it's like he does things to get a reaction more than, okay, this is just, we should do this, because it's just like, it's all just to make white Republicans feel good. I mean, that's my takeaway from Trump and the shit he does. It really is just about making them feel good and making them feel like, I got your back, no matter who it hurts, no matter the results. Now you're gonna have a bunch of troops get killed. You're gonna have a bunch of troops, and that's what gets me about people that say I'm unpatriotic and all this, is that I'm not putting the military in danger. I have not started any wars. I have not launched any missiles. Listen. Under my hand, no missiles have been fired. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. Okay? I'm just a man sitting back and watching America break all of the rules. It's like the dude, American Vagabond. I like the way he put it. That, one thing about Iran, all these attacks done against Iran, is that they lay out the evidence. They're very clear about the evidence and where they stand. This one they had most recently with their ship got damaged. They said they're going to investigate. They didn't make any statement. They made they didn't say, well, we're gonna get America. No, they just said, we will investigate, and in due time we're going to respond. And it is so refreshing as an American to see a country react like that or speak like that. It is so refreshing to see that. It is. So much so. Here in America, Our government just lies, and tells more lies. And then a week later, the lies come out. They stand on those lies, and they give you new lies. This is politics. This is the Trump era, but this is what's been going on. I just said specifically, and then Trump comes out and admits to committing criminal acts. I mean, it's refreshing, but then it's also kind of like we're in a new era of criminality. It's definitely a new era. I can definitely say it's a new era. It's a different era. It's a little terrifying. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. It's a little terrifying that this happens on a consistent basis now, because it does. It happens on a consistent basis now. They just lie. You know, I don't plan on moving to Iran. I'm not a Muslim. There's some things Erdogan has said that I really agree with. I really agree with. There's some things Putin has said. I have to say, I strongly agree with those things. They speak the truth, you know. But they've got their own stuff too. They've got their own, crap they do too. I'm not a fool. I'm nobody's fool, and I'm not stupid. You know, they've all got their ideas on the way they want the world to run. I just say under Trump, he's got the world in a very unstable position. Now there's tariffs being put against Turkey. I read about that this morning. I've said this multiple times. Trump represents the end of NATO. He does. Trump represents this era of, he represents the end of this era of benevolence, this era of, legitimacy in the American government, this era of let's do the right thing and let's try to help people. Trump is the end of that. And in a way, lose my glasses. In a way, it's kind of refreshing, and in a way, it's kind of terrifying too, because I've had this thing for a minute where I've been wondering if this is the collapse or whatever you want to call it. This is it. This is kind of like how that goes and how that happens. That the mask of the monster is being pulled off, and that's good because now you know how to identify it, and people can say, I always knew it. But at the same time, it's terrifying because the tentacles are coming out. So you're going to have Trump and his cronies do things that clearly most Americans don't support. I mean, I thought of this thing, it was like 13% of America supported a war in Iran. I was like, wow. I mean, nobody supports this stuff. And I've always thought, I'm just this crazy guy. I'm off in a corner of myself. But what does that mean? I mean, I told you guys before, the war already started. We're not going to war in Saudi Arabia. We're not going to war over there. It's already going on now. Okay? He's already got troops in Saudi Arabia. That already happened. The war is already on, man. That's what you got to understand with these people. You have to stop looking at it like a declaration. When you look at the American government and what America's doing, you've got to look at it concisely and with the clear eye that they're gonna do whatever they want to do, and that Americans have largely no control. Americans have largely no say. We have no say in what they do, and that's just real talk. That's where I'm at now. You got to come to that understanding. And if they say look left, I look right, man. U.S. government said look up, I look down. I don't, like last Michael Bachman said, that it's amazing how much news comes out in a short period of time. And he was saying how when this thing with the Iranian ship, they quieted up real quick. That was real news. That's real news. Not to take away from this woman that was murdered in Fort Worth, Texas, or anything else going on. Not to take away from it. I'm not trying to do that. That isn't my intention here. But I just want to make the point that that's real. And it's almost kind of like we're gonna have the war, and people have become ambivalent about American aggression now. That's my opinion. But it really is like that Americans have just kind of like become ambivalent, or just kind of like accepted that this is just the new reality or something. I think it's so tragic. It's so tragic to me because I'm an American. My taxes, my tax money goes to these wars. My tax money goes towards law enforcement. Now my tax money goes towards city services. And the realization that as time goes on, no matter who you get in office, more and more, my opinion just doesn't count. And I think a lot of Americans, if they don't feel the same, they're starting to realize that, whether they want to or not, that our opinions really don't mean much of anything. They're going to have their wars. They're going to have their aggression. And, I feel like with Trump, sometimes I think Trump, I see him kind of like Alonzo in that movie, Training Day. Y'all was gonna cut him off. I ain't gonna cut him off. I'm not crazy. I ain't in that big of a rush. It's when Durango was going kind of like he thought I was gonna jump in front of him. Hell no. Remember at the end, Alonzo said, when they had him the gun, he's I run shit. Y'all just leave here. That's how I feel largely about America. That would be my opinion largely about America, is we don't really have a say. And it doesn't really matter who you vote for or who you, none of that really, I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I hope or I wish that Bernie Sanders would change something, but I realize more and more that that's not realistic thinking. As I get older, that's what happens when you get older, is I'm still a boy inside, but I have to always look at things realistically and realize that just because I want something to be, peppermint tasting and smell like gingerbread men or whatever, it's not going to be that way. I want a world that moves beyond oil. I want a world that moves beyond fossil fuels, and we move on to anti-gravity and zero-point energy and things of that. I want that, but I realize that's not real. So yeah, I'm driving a gas tank. I'm going back to driving a gas tank. I mean, also I've learned as you get older, when you get a job and you start to move up in it, when you switch jobs or something, you're kind of getting a loss. The fact that I'm moving over this other company and I'm, I mean, dude, they let me use a friggin' rental car just to run around and get my cars. It's I know people around me are like, we shouldn't be engaged in the fossil fuels and everything, but then I also feel like, okay, well, give me another choice. I would love to have a hand in alternative economy. I would love to do that. I wish I could, but it's not real. From the viewpoint I have, that's not significant at this point. Bishop.